Astarius Reiki-Om.
So go ahead, tell me a little bit about yourself, Astarius. How did you get to this physical manifestation that you're in right now?
Well, first of all, I am an Ascension Ambassador. I champion the reality of the Ascension. I've been walking my spiritual path in a conscious way for 36 years. And my ultimate goal is ascension fully and completely within my flesh, which is a kind of a shamanic ascension, because there is the ascension where you take the body up and take everything up, such as the Christ experienced, and after the crucifixion, that is, there was the resurrection and the ascension. Whereas there is also the capacity of bringing the ascension frequency down into the body. So my intention is to stay within this body while receiving full cellular ascension in the body, and then to champion the ascension of the rest of the planet and the rest of the beings. It's a sort of a bodhisattva kind of an energy, to stay in the physical plane to help transform and uplift. Once one receives the ascension frequency, they can, if they want to, completely leave the physical plane and go into the higher dimensions. But I'm going to stay and help.
And that's your soul's purpose?
That's one aspect of my soul's purpose. Another aspect is having to do with music and sound frequency, which ties in, because it is through the sound healing and working with the didgeridoo vocal overtones, which is to bring in the sonic resonance to quicken the ascension frequency within the body, within the mind, the emotional body, the spirit. So there's that. There's also the teaching, just sharing the wisdom that has come to me. And then a big piece of what I have to share is the piece of self-love, because I love myself with the passion of heaven, and that's one thing that I absolutely know that I can count on. No matter who turns their back on me, no matter who is not there for me in a loving way, I'm going to always be there or here in a loving way for me. And so a lot of my soul's purpose and life purpose is to exemplify, to teach that self-loving, because it's too many people walking around with self-hatred. And the thing that has made the self-loving an easy thing for me is by just looking at the example that is set by God Goddess. And what I recognize is that God Goddess is loving me with an absolute love by virtue of one fact, and that is that I am. It's not based upon that I do, not based upon that I achieve or that I create, but simply that I am. God Goddess loves me with an infinite love based on the fact that I am. So when I look at that example, I see wisdom in following that. I am, therefore I love me. Not I do, therefore I love me. Not I create or even achieve, therefore I love me. But rather, I am, therefore I love me.
Astarius, brother, can you tell me about consciousness? Are we objects or awareness, and go into the third dimension, and light body activation? If we can go into that aspect of consciousness.
Well, consciousness, yes, we are consciousness, we are spirit, we are being itself. We are certainly not objects. We are not the body inside which we ride to navigate the physical plane. I believe that our body is the meeting place for the very universe that we are. Or let me say, my body is the meeting place for the universe that I am. That this body is the means by which I crystallize the frequency of the universe, the frequency of God, Goddess, Absolute. Each of us are a microcosm of the great macrocosm, which is the universe. You see, if the blueprint for the universe was lost, it could be recreated through any one of us. Each one of us is carrying the entire celestial and genetic blueprint of the universe absolute, the universe at large. And so the intention in this physical journey that we take is the intention of coming into the eternal remembrance of this absoluteness of selfhood that we all are. Because we are the universe at large. You know, we are God Goddess, absolute, personified within our bodies. And the light body activation is simply when we become accelerated, so very accelerated in, you know, our growth and our evolvement, that there is this cellular activation of the very deity or the reality of God Goddesshood that exists deep within our core. You know, that I feel is the light body activation.
Tell me a little bit of transformation of the world. What is the world going through right now as far as technology goes, medicine goes, the media, the mass hypnosis, how everyone's being programmed, terrorism, you know, arrogance? How should people prepare for all that?
Well, the greatest preparation lies in remembering the spirit of oneness, that we're not separate beings, but we're one. Every being in all existence is part of the rest of who I am, and it is through that knowingness that gives me great power. When I can realize that not only I am the wave, or not only am I the wave of life, I am also the ocean of life itself. You see, when a wave is in the awareness of its oneness with the ocean and it goes with the tide of the ocean, even though it's only one wave, as it rolls upon the shores, the whole power of the ocean is then in back of it. So the wave harnesses the power of the ocean by virtue of realizing its oneness with the ocean.
And what about technology and medicine? How is the transformation happening as far as the world, transformation, medicine, technology, and the mass media?
Well, you know, technology is accelerating. You know, we have the internet in a lot of ways. That's a microcosm of consciousness, you know, because we have such a diversified access to each other all over the planet through the World Wide Web, which we didn't have before. And that is a physical expression of something that exists on a cosmic level. Now, there's also, I feel, a breaking down of governmental systems. You know, in astrology we have right now the planet Uranus and the planet Saturn in opposition of each other. Saturn represents the status quo, you know, governmental bodies and so forth, and Uranus is sudden and unexpected change. So we're going through a very erratic shifting of, you know, the balances of power. You know, governmental systems, you know, will begin to fall. Empires will begin to fall, particularly those, you know, that have been manipulating the people, controlling the people, and, you know, wanting to take power away from the people. These governmental systems have to fall.
It's talking about governmental systems. I mean, are they trying to create globalization with the money and the evilness? What's going on with that? Do you think we live in a prison planet?
Well, I don't have all of those answers, you know, but there are certain manipulations that are in place, but those manipulations will not succeed because we are moving in the resonance of planetary ascension. The whole planet, you know, and a great many people on the planet are going through an ascension process. And this ascension process is the unfoldment of the New Age, the Aquarian Age, the Golden Age. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's an age of brotherhood, of sisterhood. I like to call it a peopleocracy, you know, where, you know, the government will begin to express itself through the people at large, and there will be such a strong resonance of brotherhood and sisterhood that there won't need to be a governing body beyond the love that exists within our hearts.